All right. I don't know if we're actually live there, but we're live now. So, welcome everybody. Hope you're having a great day today. I got to make sure that I'm looking at the camera. I'm working off of a bit of a different setup right now, and I noticed in a previous interview I did that it looks like my eyes were sort of looking in one direction. So I'm going to do my best to look at the camera, which is awkward because I'm kind of looking at myself right now. Uh, but I guess I'll just stare at the camera for this one. So, as I said, welcome. I'm really excited to start this new series. Wednesdays are going to be a training day, so a day where I'm just going to come in, speak to a topic that's been relevant in some of the conversations I've been having, and just answer any questions that come up, or really just see where the conversation goes with folks that are tuning in. So today we've got a cool topic. um, we are going to be discussing how to let go of past resentment, pain, and negative experiences. So not a light topic, so to speak, but we're going to work with this one. I'm actually just going to check really quick because I want to make sure that my setting is appropriately on for one of the channels that I'm streaming on, and it is not. It is locked. So good thing I remembered to check that out. It's annoying that Facebook does that when you stream. So, anyways, now it is opened up. Hopefully that works. Okay, so um, now that we've spent 2 minutes of time just diving into this, so this topic, letting go of past resentment, pain, and negative experiences. Obviously, a place that we there's a lot around this. This shows up in many areas of our life, right? Just from relationships to careers to family dynamics, to friendships, to just experiences that we've had in life. It all builds up, and the work here is really to start to let go of some of the past experiences that we've had, so that we can create a future created from a place of a clean slate. And oftentimes it's this past stuff that gets in the way of what that future can look like. So we're going to dive into this more today. This is obviously an area that I support all of my clients around. We do really, really great work together, and of course, being able to work with what's been in the past and bringing completion to that is a central part of the work that we do. So, if that's something that you're interested in getting some support around, please feel free to let me know in the comments. Feel free to send me a message, and we can start a conversation around, just you being supported around, the letting go of some of the past traumas, experiences, so as to create a new future. And of course, I've got a coaching program called The Authentic Man, which is set up to really explore this work and dive deeper, and then obviously create this new future from a place of a little more lightness, we'll call it. So I'll share that information at the end. Um, of where you can find out more information about that coaching program. If you are tuning in live or you're on the replay and that sounds confusing. At any point, if you're watching this video and you want to ask questions, leave comments, please feel free. If you're on here live today, I will respond to them, and if you send anything from the replay, I will make sure to respond to that as well. So, um, where to begin on a topic like this? Where to begin? I mean, let me give you some context. In the conversations that I have, inevitably the past shows up, right? The past has such an influence on our creation of the future, and so, um, but the thing is, I don't my belief in some senses, we don't actually understand how much the past influences both how we operate in the present and in the future. As human beings, as people in the world that we're in right now, we lead these very busy lives. And so the natural order of things is that we go about our lives. We know that there are influences on us, past transgressions, but we often don't really get to spend time, really assessing them, assessing the impact of what has happened in our life. And so, it we just go about our lives into the future, and really all these things impact us. And so what we want to start to do is start to unpack this a little bit. A question was asked, like, how do we do this? So we're gonna dive into that a bit more. And the first thing that I'll just sort of put in there is that, understand that I'm going to be coming more from a coaching perspective than, say, a trauma based perspective, or a psychological or counseling based perspective. So the way that I approach, this work is often from a place of what healing needs to be done so that we can move more freely into the future, so we can create the future that we desire. So you may find that I step over some of the psychological aspects, or the embodiment, the body aspects, and really dive into some of the the nuts and bolts, the strategies. And yeah, just know that that might be in a space. And again, let me know if you have any questions around that. Just going to check one thing really quick, and then we'll dive into the first point. Nothing important there. Okay, cool. All right, so coming back here. So let's really start from the smallest place. As we look at letting go of the past resentment, pain, and negative experiences, the one place we really want to start with is being at choice. And this might sound a little bit like nebulous in a way, but truly just, are we ready to let go? Are we truly ready to let go of these past influences? um, so we don't want to force it. We don't want to rush ourselves. We really want to be at choice and really determine for ourselves, am I in a space where I'm ready to let go of these things, to really start to explore these areas and really start to dive deeper. So, I'm going to call that being at choice sort of a part of the next bullet point, which is the first place that we really want to start at is acknowledging the incompletions that we have, and acknowledging the impact that the past has had on us. And so, if we break this down a little bit more, I want to talk about this aspect of incompletion versus completion. So, in our lives, we often, if we look at humanity, most people in the world are incomplete around a lot of things. They might be incomplete around a relationship, maybe not getting a job, incomplete on how a conversation went with a family member. The place to look at is really start to explore, where are all the areas of life that I feel incomplete. And so really the idea behind incompletion is that it still holds weight. We still think about it. It comes up in our day-to-day interactions. We just feel this presence with these areas that we feel incomplete. And so again, if you just think about that, what is the impact of that? How is that influencing your life now? This is the place that we want to start to get clear around, is really understanding where these incompletions are, really understanding where the impact is from these incompletions. And so we want to acknowledge them. We don't want to step over it. We really want to start to get clarity over where these incompletions are. So I'm using the language of incompletion, and what we're looking at is, where are those past resentments, the pain, the negative experiences still influencing us? So the practice here is really to start to document, journal, record an audio around where do I feel incomplete? What's showing up for me right now? You know, for example, I feel incomplete right now around a coaching contract that fell through. There's incompletion there for me still. I still have incompletion over the year 2023. So, and I could keep going, right? But these incompletions show up for me. I have incompletion in a relationship with my brother. So again, another place where incompletion shows up. It impacts my life. Now, obviously I've done work over these years to be with what's there, but but it's still there, right? That's the thing. And so this is the thing, is you want to start to gain capacity with those areas that you feel incomplete. Like literally start to write them down, journal on them, get clarity on what you're actually holding on to versus just allowing it to be a thought. It kind of actually moves into my second point there too. So there's the beauty of it. But that's just it, right? Is we want to acknowledge it. We do not want to step over the impact that's been here. What has been the impact of a failed relationship or not getting the job? How is that impacting you both in your mental capacities and in your body? Really starting to get clear on that. And then, as I said, writing them down. So, really, taking some time with this. I mentioned that I'll be giving practices. That's the practice, is starting to write these down. We really want to get to a place where we have perception over our incompletion. We have perception over these past influences. And truly doing this in such a way that it's all documented, it's out, so that we kind of have this clean slate. We have this ability to you truly just get to a place where, like, you know what, I don't feel like there's more for me to put out here. I feel like I've actually put it out all on paper. So yeah, that's it. That's really the practice there, is one, really being with the like the impact that this has had on you, not stepping over it, really getting clear on how has that failed relationship impacted me? How has not getting that job impacted me? What has been the cost of that for me? What am I not able to let go of until I explore this? And then, as I said, really just getting to this place of getting it out. I'm sort of playing a bit with like the bullets that I want to speak to here. There is this next one, and I think I'm gonna pass on this one for now, and look at some other areas. So as we start to gain awareness, right, both mentally and physically, of the impact that's here, where we want to start to look at is truly just um, developing a practice for grounding or meditation, or breath work, some sort of practice that just allows you to start to gain capacity with stillness, right? So oftentimes what we'll see is like somebody may have a meditation practice or a walking practice or a breath work practice, and it's layered over top of these past resentments, pain, negative experience. It's almost like, okay, I'm taking on this medication, this meditation practice to, make myself feel better, make myself feel grounded, but I'm not actually being with the source of the pain, the source of the frustration. And so the recommendation that I would have here is to start to bring in these meditative grounding breathwork practices where you're actually focusing on some of these past issues, these past incompletions, because then what happens is you start to gain capacity around them. And there's many platforms out there that are really helpful for this, right? Apps like Calm, Insight Timer. These are places where you could search, for just guided meditations, breathing practices, things that just allow you to bring more stillness, more awareness over the experience. The other place that I would really put to you as well is starting to look at having a support structure in place, right? So, you know, just that, it's funny, I'm sort of like in my head for a second. You know, the I think the biggest downfall that I see for men right now is that there's not a person that they can talk to about their experiences. These past resentments, the pain, the negative experiences, um, they don't have people in their life. So ultimately, then what happens is that it gets buried inside. They have no outlet to share with. I think one of the unfortunate pieces that I'm seeing out in the world right now is that there's sort of this movement of like, oh, counseling's bad, therapy's bad, um, you know, and it doesn't resonate because the fundamental tenet of having a support structure is that having somebody to be in conversation with, at the lowest level of just having somebody that can listen to you share your experience, your pain, your frustration. At the lowest level, it's an outlet of expression. And I think that this in itself gets missed, right? So obviously there are higher capacities, right? There's going to be coaches, trained coaches like myself who are regularly in these conversations that can support. There's counselors, there's therapists, but there's also men's groups. There's support groups that are out there. And really when we talk about allowing ourselves to release the weight of some of these um, past, just things that are showing up, these are the places to start, right? And really just allowing ourselves to have these structures, right? These places where we can talk about, what's happened in our lives. So truly, if you're looking for support structures and you don't know where to look, please feel free to reach out because I will be happy to share some ideas with you, in terms of where you can look at this in your local community or even online. Uh, I forgot to mention this, but unfortunately, depending on the platform you're on, sometimes the name doesn't show up in the chat. So if you could also put your name in, that would be excellent. So I'm not just talking to a Facebook user, but you made a statement of there's a stigma to men talking to people about your experiences. You're a big boy, you can take it. It's the usual response. Absolutely. And um, it is truly a stigma of the past, right? And it's a belief of the past, and not to say that it's not present, but look at the impact that that stigma has had on generations of men, right? you know I'm going to just go even to the baby boomer generation, right, and on, like, when we look, we could go farther back, but how far back do we need to go, right? But if we look at even from the generation of men, our fathers, even our grandfathers, I just think of um, how lonely it must have been. My father dealt with mental illness, and of course, he had support, right? He had support structures in place, but my my opinion there is like the real depth, right? Like the depth of a men's group or the depth of you know uh, a men's coach, somebody that could really hold that container for him was non-existent during that time. And so there's an impact of that, not only on that man, but on generations to come. And so, as I sit with your comment around like you're a big boy and you can take it, it's like it's it's unfortunate that that's the belief out there. And I think that that is starting to, it's still existent, it's definitely still existent in our culture, and we're seeing the impact of it, right? Suicide rates are high among men. And even even, at a lower gradient, we're seeing men that are just lonely. They don't have community, they don't have deep connections. And so, the opportunity here is really to step past, the stigma, surround ourselves with people who embrace men being in community and men being supported in conversation. Because, um there's power to it. I think that's really the easiest thing to say, is that there's power to, men being in community and men being supported, and um, just that, So thanks for offering that, into the space, because it is a real thing, and it's an opportunity for us to really change the narrative. So I talked about support structure as that fifth bullet. One piece that I didn't include in here, but is starting to look at, we talked about the idea of completion, is starting to look at forgiveness, right? What can we forgive? What can we forgive that's in the space? And simply put, without taking on those first two steps of acknowledging the impact and the incompletion, potentially the impact that others have had on us, or the impact that we've had on others, forgiveness is going to be a hard step. And so truly, forgiveness is the last step in this process. How can we start to bring forgiveness to the people that have hurt us? What are the aspects of humanity that we can accept in others who have hurt us? And understanding that they're likely hurt and wounded as well. At the core, people are generally good, and and whether you believe that or not, it's really holding that, you know if somebody at their core is good, they've had their own environmental influences, their past traumas, and they've come into contact with us, what elements of forgiveness can we bring into the space? And that's really a place to start looking, is what can we let go of? I think, just to bring this into context, like, let's say with my wife, for example, we've we've had things that have come up over the years, and when I'm in my survival mode, there are aspects of me that show up. My wife doesn't love me, or my wife doesn't care about, like, meeting my needs, or my wife is never going to change. Like, these are things that show up for me. And, as I've been speaking to in some of my posts lately, if that's the mindset that I'm in, then nothing will ever change, because I'm not open to the possibility that life could be any different. And so, you know, a place there, and again, this has come from a lot of work over the years of really being with what's in my space, creating that awareness. And so this is the work, right? These steps that I'm talking about, acknowledging the impact, acknowledging the incompletion, documenting it, being with it on a regular basis, and then having some practices that are grounding or meditative to just sort of support me in, like, this is what's present, and this is sort of the space that I'm wanting to move into. And then bringing forgiveness, it all comes together. It really, it really does. And that's the piece of really just, where can we bring lightness? Where can we bring forgiveness to the people in our lives that have hurt us? Again, it's going to be on a gradient. For some people, it might not ever be there, right? That element of forgiveness. And for others, it's really just starting to have that opening of forgiveness, that opening of lightness, that by releasing some of the resentment or pain or negative experiences that others hold on us, it actually gives us more power. It gives us more freedom to choose. And it comes back to where I started, right? Of being at choice, allowing yourself to be at choice every step in the way into this process. So, Whew, talked a lot there today. Um, with not a lot of spaciousness, but I'll work on that. Anyways, hope this is helpful. Again, if you have any questions, um, please feel free to leave them in the comments, or feel free to message me privately. I'm happy to speak more to this. This is truly the work that we do in the coaching space. So, it's hard to speak to one thing specifically, but in the coaching space that's created with me, this is the work, is both the letting go of these past resentments, pain, negative experiences, and letting come sort of that lightness, that opportunity to create through a different lens. And it's created through tools, it's created through the support structure. It's created through conversation and continually coming back into the conversation, when often we don't have that space. So if this is something that you're interested to find out more about, I will put a link to the Authentic Man, the private coaching program that I have. And even if that's something that you're not interested in, please feel free to send me a message and share your situation with me, your story with me, and I'd love to give you some support. That's what I'm here for. So hopefully this has been helpful, and really looking forward to continuing this series over many weeks to come. If you have any topics that you'd like me to speak to in the coming weeks, or just any questions about topics that are front of mind, again, please feel free to put something in the comments or message me, and I will definitely bring it into future conversations. So with that, have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.